The morning sun cast long shadows across the university campus as graduation day arrived. For most students, it was a day of celebration and joy. For Maya Thompson, it was a day she had been dreading for weeks. She sat on the curb outside the main hall, her graduation gown pooled around her, staring at her shoes. They were old ballet flats, the kind you could buy for $15 at a discount store. The sole on the left one had separated from the fabric, flapping with each step. The right shoe had a tear along the side where her pinky toe poked through. Maya had worn these shoes for 3 years. Through every class, every study session, every part-time job shift. They had carried her through the hardest period of her life, and now they were falling apart on the one day she needed them most. She had tried everything. Glue that didn't hold. Tape that looked obvious. She had even considered going barefoot under her gown, but the ceremony required students to walk across a stage in front of hundreds of people. Her feet would be visible to everyone, including her grandmother, the only family member who could afford to come. Tears pricked Maya's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had worked too hard for this moment. 4 years of juggling 3 jobs while maintaining a high-grade point average. 4 years of eating ramen and skipping meals. 4 years of studying in library corners because her shared apartment was too noisy. She had sacrificed everything to be the first person in her family to graduate from college, and now she was going to walk across that stage in shoes held together with hope and determination. "Excuse me, are you all right?" Maya looked up to find a man crouching beside her. He was in his early 30s with kind eyes and a well-tailored suit that probably cost more than her entire semester's rent. Behind him sat a sleek black luxury car that gleamed in the sunlight. "I'm fine," Maya said quickly, trying to hide her shoes beneath her gown. But the man had already seen them. His gaze fell on the worn flats and something shifted in his expression. Not pity, exactly. Something deeper. Recognition, perhaps. "Those shoes have seen better days," he said gently. Maya felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. "They've gotten me this far," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "They'll get me across that stage, too." The man was quiet for a moment, studying her face. Then he asked, "What size do you wear?" "What?" Maya blinked in confusion. "Your shoe size." "What is it?" "7, Maya said slowly. "Why?" The man glanced back at his car, then at Maya. "Wait here. Just one moment." Before Maya could protest, he walked to the vehicle and opened the back door. She watched, bewildered, as he pulled out what looked like a shopping bag. When he returned, he was holding a box. "These might work," he said, offering the box to Maya. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a pair of elegant women's flats, simple but beautiful, in a soft cream color that would be perfect under her black gown. They looked brand new, and when Maya checked the label, her heart sank. "These were designer shoes, expensive designer shoes. I can't accept these," Maya said quickly, trying to hand the box back. "These must have cost a fortune." "I don't even know you." "My name is Ethan," the man said, not taking the box. "And those shoes were meant for someone who didn't need them as much as you do. Please take them. Consider it a graduation gift from a stranger who understands what it's like to struggle." Maya looked into his eyes and saw sincerity there. No condescension, no judgment, just kindness. "I don't understand," she said quietly. "Why would you have women's shoes in your car? And why would you give them to me?" Ethan sat down on the curb beside her, seemingly unconcerned about his expensive suit touching the ground. "My younger sister graduated last year," he explained. "I bought her these shoes for the ceremony, but she ended up wearing a different pair. I've been meaning to return them, but I kept forgetting. And then I saw you sitting here, and something told me they were meant for you instead." "Your sister has good taste," Maya said, running her fingers over the soft leather. "But these are too much." "I'm just going to wear them for a few hours." "Sometimes a few hours matter more than we think," Ethan said softly. "Sometimes those few hours represent years of hard work and sacrifice. They deserve to be marked with something special." Maya felt tears well up again, but this time she let one fall. "You don't understand. I've worked so hard to get here. I've done everything I could. But I couldn't even afford decent shoes for my own graduation. What kind of person am I?" "You're the kind of person who worked 3 jobs to put herself through college," Ethan said firmly. The kind of person who never gave up even when things were impossibly hard. The kind of person who cares more about achieving her dreams than about what shoes she wears. That makes you remarkable, not inadequate. Maya looked at him in surprise. How did you know about the 3 jobs? Ethan gestured to her hands. Your fingers have ink stains from working with papers. Your nails are short and practical. And there's a name tag outline on your gown pocket from a uniform you probably wore underneath. I'm guessing library work, tutoring, and maybe retail or food service? Library, tutoring, and waitressing, Maya confirmed, amazed. But how could you tell all that? Because I've been there, Ethan said quietly. Maybe not exactly the same situation, but close enough. I understand what it's like to count every penny, to sacrifice everything for a goal that seems impossibly far away. To be embarrassed about things you can't control? He paused, looking out at the gathering graduates. When I was in college, I wore the same suit to every interview and presentation. It was the only one I owned. The cuffs were frayed and the pants were too short, but it was all I had. I was terrified someone would notice and judge me for it. Did they? Maya asked softly. Some did, Ethan admitted. But the people who mattered, the ones who really saw me, they looked past the suit. They saw my work ethic, my determination, my potential. Just like anyone who really sees you will look past your shoes and see the incredible person wearing them. Maya felt something shift inside her chest. For years, she had carried shame about her circumstances, about the second-hand textbooks and the cramped apartment and the clothes from thrift stores. But sitting here, talking to this stranger who somehow understood, she felt that shame begin to loosen its grip. Try them on, Ethan encouraged, nodding at the shoes. Maya slipped off her old flats and carefully put on the new ones. They fit perfectly, as if they had been made for her. She stood up, and for the first time in months, her feet didn't hurt. The shoes supported her properly, made her stand taller. They're perfect, she breathed. They look like they were always meant to be yours, Ethan said, smiling. I don't know how to thank you, Maya said. This is the kindest thing anyone has done for me in a long time. You don't have to thank me, Ethan said. Just promise me something. When you're successful, when you've built the life you're working so hard for, remember this moment. And when you see someone struggling the way you are now, help them. That's how we change the world, one act of kindness at a time. Maya nodded, too overcome to speak. In the distance, she could hear an announcement calling graduates to line up for the ceremony. You should go, Ethan said. Your moment is waiting. Wait, Maya said as he started to walk away. I don't even know your last name. How will I ever repay you? Ethan turned back with a smile. You don't need to know my last name, and you don't need to repay me. Just go walk across that stage with your head held high. That's payment enough. As he walked back to his car, Maya called out, Will you stay? To watch? Ethan paused, then nodded. I'd be honored. The ceremony was everything Maya had dreamed of. When her name was called, she walked across that stage in her new shoes, feeling confident and proud. Her grandmother cheered from the audience, waving a handmade sign. And somewhere in the back, a stranger named Ethan watched and smiled, remembering his own journey and grateful he could make someone else's a little easier. After the ceremony, Maya looked for Ethan to thank him properly, but he had disappeared. His car was gone. The only evidence he had been there at all was the beautiful shoes on her feet and a small card she found tucked in the box. The card read, Congratulations on your graduation. You've earned every step of this journey. Never forget how strong you are. With admiration, Maya kept that card in her wallet for years. She had no idea who Ethan really was, no way to find him or repay his kindness. What she didn't know was that Ethan Castellano was the CEO of Castellano Enterprises, a multinational corporation worth billions. He had been on campus that day to give the keynote speech at a different graduation ceremony across town and had arrived early. What she also didn't know was that Ethan had grown up in poverty, the son of immigrants who worked multiple jobs to support their family. He had put himself through college on scholarships and student loans, wearing second-hand clothes and eating meals at a soup kitchen when money ran out. His journey to success had been marked by countless moments of shame and struggle, moments he remembered every time he looked at his expensive suits and luxury cars. He had learned that success meant nothing if you forgot where you came from. That wealth was empty if you didn't use it to lift others up, and that sometimes the most important thing you could do was see someone else's struggle and offer them a moment of dignity and hope. 5 years later, Maya stood in her own office. She had graduated with honors and gone on to get her master's degree in social work. Now she ran a nonprofit organization that helped low-income students navigate college. Her office walls were covered with photos of young people in graduation caps, students she had mentored and supported through their journeys. On her desk sat a framed card with familiar handwriting. "Never forget how strong you are." That morning, Maya had a meeting with a potential donor, a CEO who wanted to fund scholarships for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. When the receptionist showed him in, Maya looked up from her papers and froze. It was him, the man from her graduation day, older now, with a few strands of gray in his hair, but unmistakably the same kind eyes. "Ethan," she breathed. He stopped in the doorway, recognition dawning on his face. "Maya Thompson," he read from the nameplate on her desk. Then he smiled. "The graduate with the determined spirit. The stranger with the perfect timing," Maya said, coming around her desk. "I've been trying to find you for 5 years. I wanted to thank you properly, to tell you what your kindness meant to me." "I can see what it meant," Ethan said, looking around at the photos on the walls. "You've helped all these students?" "I made a promise," Maya said, "to remember what it felt like to struggle, to help others the way someone once helped me. You taught me that kindness doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's just about seeing someone's need and meeting it without judgment." Ethan's eyes shone with emotion. "And the shoes? Did they hold up?" Maya laughed, a sound full of joy. "I wore them to every job interview, every important meeting, every moment I needed to feel strong. They carried me through graduate school and my first nonprofit job. I only retired them last year, and only because they were finally too worn to repair." "Good shoes always know when their journey is complete," Ethan said with a smile. They talked for hours that day, about Maya's organization and Ethan's foundation, about shared experiences of poverty and the responsibility that came with success. By the end of the meeting, Ethan had committed to funding 50 full scholarships, covering not just tuition but also books, housing, and yes, appropriate clothing for interviews and ceremonies. "No student should have to worry about shoes on their graduation day," he said firmly. "No student should have to," Maya agreed. "Thanks to you, mine won't have to." Years later, the Castellano-Thompson Scholarship Fund would help thousands of students, but its origins would always be traced back to a single moment on a sunny graduation morning, to a young woman sitting on a curb with broken shoes and broken dreams, to a successful CEO who remembered what struggle felt like, to a simple act of kindness that rippled outward, changing lives in ways neither of them could have imagined. Maya kept those cream-colored flats in a glass case in her office. Beneath them was a plaque that read, "A reminder that sometimes the right help arrives at exactly the right moment, and our job is to pass that help forward." Students who visited her office would ask about the shoes, and Maya would tell them the story, about a stranger who saw her need and met it with grace, about the power of remembering where you came from, about the responsibility to lift others as you climb. And sometimes, late at night, when the office was empty, Maya would look at those shoes and remember, not just the embarrassment of that morning, but the moment everything changed. The moment she learned that struggle doesn't diminish your worth, that asking for help isn't weakness, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is accept kindness and then become the kind of person who offers it to others. Ethan had given her more than shoes that day. He had given her dignity. He had given her hope. He had given her a model for the kind of success she wanted to achieve. Success that remembered, success that cared, success that reached back and pulled others forward. And in the end, isn't that what all of us are called to do? To remember the moments when we struggled, to extend help to those who struggle now, to understand that we are all connected by our shared humanity and that lifting someone else up doesn't diminish us. It expands us. It reminds us of who we are and who we can be. Sometimes it takes a pair of borrowed shoes to teach us how to walk in someone else's. And sometimes, if we're very lucky, those shoes lead us to a purpose bigger than ourselves. A purpose built on compassion, humility, and the understanding that none of us succeeds alone. We all need help sometimes. We all have moments when we sit on curbs with broken shoes and broken spirits. The question is not whether we'll have those moments. The question is whether we'll remember them when our own shoes are whole again. Whether we'll see others sitting on their own curbs and choose to stop. To offer help. To remind them that their struggle doesn't define their worth. That's the legacy Maya built. That's the lesson Ethan taught. And that's the truth those cream-colored flats represent. That kindness is never wasted. Compassion is never foolish. And sometimes the smallest gesture can change the entire direction of someone's life. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. Tell us in the comments about a time when someone's unexpected kindness changed your perspective or helped you through a difficult moment. Your stories inspire others and remind us all of the power of compassion.